day and night. I toss and turn, I keep stressing my mind.
What is going on, guys? Victor here with a brand new audio clip. Now, UFC Fight Island 2 is officially in the books, and what can I say, guys? This was a really good fight night for me. Hopefully it was a good fight night for you guys as well. They gave us a whole new perspective of all this international talent that the UFC can get, all this international talent that Dana White can be able to pull off with the help of Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby at the same time. Those three work together brilliantly, and they've been bringing in a whole lot of international talent for these Fight Island events. Now, if you guys don't know, there are going to be 4 Fight Island events. We just got done with UFC Fight Island Part 2, Kelvin Kattar versus Dan Ige. That is officially in the books. Coming up next is going to be UFC Fight Island Part 3 this Saturday. Figueiredo versus Benavidez 2 for the vacant UFC Flyweight Championship of the world. But before I even get into any of that, that's most likely going to be talked about in a separate video before that does go down this Saturday night. But most of all, I really want to talk about most of the fights that went down. Jack Shore, the Welsh fighter coming out of Wales, had a magnificent showing against Aaron Phillips. And what can I say, guys? Jack Shore, his wrestling in his ground and pound was unmatched. It was unbelievable. It basically led to his victory, and it was just a dominant defeat of Aaron Phillips, all in all. You know, again, the first round was definitely a 10-8, and the second round was most likely going to be another 10-8 before he finished him off with the rear naked choke towards the end of the second round. Also, I want to talk about the Lithuanian-born fighter, the first Lithuanian-born fighter to fight under the UFC octagon, Modestas Bukauskas. Big, tall, strong guy. He's definitely got a good amount of stand-up. He was mixing in some of the strikes. He was mixing in some elbows too. He's also mixing in the leg kicks to the head, to the calf, basically everywhere. This guy is a well-rounded fighter. He fights out of London, England. He represents both the country of England and Lithuania. So it basically tells me that even though he was born in Lithuania, he must have moved to the country of England at a young age, and that's where he really found his love for the UFC, for the sports of mixed martial arts in general. A really interesting fact is that he ended his fight against Andreas Michailidis, and this fight was pretty close in the first round. You know, both fighters were definitely going after it. Obviously, Modestas Bukauskas had some really good foot movement. He had more power as well, and his speed was better overall. To be honest, Andreas Michailidis, he was making his UFC debut, and not only his UFC debut, but his light heavyweight debut as well, because he usually fights at the middleweight division, but decided he wanted to go up in order to get this opportunity to fight in UFC Fight Island. But at the very end of the first round, Michailidis was trying to go for a takedown, and Bukauskas ended up stuffing it. He sprawled. They were both against the cage, and then Modestas, he decided to tee off on the elbows and the side of the head, which really rocked Michailidis. He wasn't feeling right at the end of the horn. His body movement even showed it. He was a little bit dazed. He was dizzy. He really had a hard time trying to get back on his feet, and that basically led to the referee calling the fight right there. So an impressive debut by Modestas Bukauskas. Also, UFC debut of Khamzat Chimaev. Basically, I don't know which country he's from, but he ended up fighting John Phillips, and it was another dominant. It was another dominant performance via the wrestling and the ground and pound. This guy's wrestling is on par with Khabib's, and I'm not just saying it because obviously he's probably around. The country that he's from is most likely near Russia, or he might even be from Russia. It is what it is, but this guy's wrestling, it just reminded me of Khabib's. He got the takedown the first 5 seconds of the fight, and he didn't even let John Phillips back up for a single minute before taking him back down and just hitting him and busting him wide open with all these shots and bloodying him up and everything like that. And he really teed off on him the majority of the time, and he put a lot of pressure on him at the same time, which led to the Darce choke in the second round. John Phillips never had a chance in this fight. He never had a chance to get back up on his feet. And that's just a crazy thing. John Phillips is a good fighter. I know he's good with judo, and he's got some hands, and he's very powerful at the same time. And Chimaev was able to basically neutralize all that, make it absolutely non-existent at the same time. So an impressive debut. He was able to finish the fight via Darce choke in the second round. Even if he wasn't able to finish the fight in the second round, it would have been another 10-8 round because he was absolutely dominant. Other fights I want to talk about here is another UFC debutant. Basically, his name is Munir Lazez, and this guy was absolutely ecstatic. He was absolutely elated, and his performance was absolutely amazing at the same time. He was facing Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. You know, I've made a video about him in the past. This guy's got power. He's lights out. You never really get to see his wrestling because he knocks out all of his guys. All of his 10 wins are via knockout, 100% finish rate. 2 of those losses that he's had have been by decision. Now, Munir Lazez, he fights out of not Abu Dhabi, but he fights out of Dubai, which is only a couple of hours away from Abu Dhabi. He was the hometown guy, and he absolutely put on a great performance. He was mixing in the leg kicks, the knees, the elbows, the forward elbows. You never see a lot of guys hitting their opponents with the forward elbows. It was absolutely amazing, and he's just well-rounded, and you got to see some takedowns as well. He took down Abdulrazak Al-Hassan a couple of times in their fight. You got to see a little bit of his ground game, so I was just glad to see that, and he ended up getting that unanimous decision. He was getting clipped in the first 30 seconds of the fight. I thought it was going to be a knockout, but it was not. Lazez has a good chin on him. He's got a good amount of head movement as well, which really prevented that knockout in the first 30 seconds of the fight. Also, just want to talk about the main event as well. Obviously, before that, Jimmy Rivera had a really good performance against Cody Snedeman. I believe he snaps a 3-fight losing streak. Tim Elliott and Ryan Benoit had a very close fight with one another with the co-main event. It was pretty intriguing. It was pretty entertaining at the same time. And now Calvin Kattar versus Dan Ige. It was a firefight the whole entire time. These guys were really putting it on each other, but Calvin Kattar basically won it 3 rounds to 1. Basically 4 rounds to 1 basically, and Calvin, he just had a great performance overall, and with this win against Dan Ige, with his first official 5-round fight and his first official 5-round fight win, I believe this is definitely going to catapult him into the UFC featherweight rankings, against guys like Max Holloway, against guys like the Korean Zombie, and other guys such as Brian Ortega, some of these guys that haven't fought in a while. I'd really like to see Calvin Kattar fight Yair Rodriguez. If Yair Rodriguez and Zabit Magnushripov don't fight each other, I'd really like to see that fight develop. Let's see what happens at the very end of the day. Dan Ige, he's definitely going to fight another guy in the top 10, and he definitely deserves that after the performance that he pulled off against Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar usually puts a lot of guys to sleep, but he did not 2 nights ago on Wednesday. So it was a great UFC fight night overall, guys. It was a lot of talent that showed up, a lot of great fights. The prelims, there was literally only one fight that did not have a finish. That's how great these fights were this past Wednesday. So shout out to all the fighters on there. It was a great fight. Definitely made the fans proud, and I hope you guys liked it a lot. So I appreciate you guys for watching this audio clip. I might just start calling this a little mini podcast or something. I really don't know, but I appreciate you guys for hearing me out today. I'm going to put out another one really, really soon about the main event this Saturday, Figueiredo versus Benavidez 2. So thank you guys. God bless. Stay safe and take care.